go and no go, and then a middle mark, and then you see if you're within those limits. So it's very simple. The good part about belt drive tail rotor is obviously it's cheaper.
It's the first time that we've done a Sunday or Saturday morning meeting. So this is an experiment, and it looks like it's turning out real well, accomplishing what we want, because we wanted to open up the EAA to just tell people on the field or out in the public what we're really doing, and this is great. We've got a lot of people here that are not members. So let me tell you just a little bit about the chapter. It's been around. Gosh, how long has it been around? Quite some time. I've been here 5 or 6 years.
Long time.
Yeah, long time. EAA stands for Experimental Aircraft Association, but we have many pilots in here that just have regular airplanes, or what do you call them? Certified airplanes. And a lot of members that aren't even pilots or not flying right now, but just have a love for aviation. So really what we wanted, are big on here is working with youth, encouraging them to get into aviation. So we're big with the Young Eagles. We do that a couple of times a year. This money over here that we're collecting, if you sell buy a raffle ticket, this is to go into our scholarship fund to send a teenager to the EAA summer camp. It's a week-long camp at Oshkosh, and they go through all the procedures for building an airplane. It's really a cool camp. So we give out a scholarship for that each year, and this is what this is for. And the other money thing here, if you want to put in a donation for the snacks and coffee and donuts and all that, would be much appreciated. So we normally have our meetings on Wednesdays, the second Wednesday of each month, starting about 7 o'clock. The meeting starts at 7:30 over at the little building over here. So you're all welcome to attend. It's $20 a year if you want to join, and we would love to have you. It's we have a speaker each week or each month that talks about some aspect of aviation, safety, or maybe how to save money, project updates, things like that. It's really a good group of local pilots here, just to further everyone's interest in aviation. So this morning what we're going to do is take a look at some airplanes that are around, some really cool aircraft, and we'll talk to the owners and they'll explain what they're doing. It's either like this beautiful airplane here, it's been refurbished, then there's some experimental around. We'll just see what's in the hangars and learn about it. So again, we thank you for coming this morning, and we've covered everything we want to cover you can think of. This is Dwayne. He's the vice president of the chapter, and this is his hangar here. So why don't we finish it up and coffee, and then we'll start our tour.
Yeah, we'll everybody, when everybody's ready to do this, we'll finish that meeting, and then we'll just kind of get everybody's attention from there. And we'll talk about how it's like what's in the tour. That's great. But just for those of you who don't know that hasn't been here, over under going to be able to carry about 800 pounds. That's including the fuel. When we completed the restoration, it weighed a little more than it did when it rolled out of the Piper factory in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania in 1960. It was certified in February of 1960. When I started looking for a project, I wanted something that was made the same year I was born. So that's what I came up with. It's
Yeah. I'd go there too. This is my Highlander. I built it from a kit from Just Aircraft. But I have an excuse. And it's just a fun airplane to fly. I've owned Cessnas and Pipers, and this thing here just wants to go fly. It's just fun. I call it my airborne dirt bike, because it likes to go into backcountry and grass strips, and we fly out to St. John,
Pennsylvania, where the original Piper plant was. It's a lot of fun. I always fly with the door and the window open so you can kind of smell the outside. You know, I learned to fly in one when I was a teenager, loved them ever since. flew some other stuff, but for fun, this is still one of my favorite airplanes. It's a tail wheel, like Wes and Dwayne mentioned. As you see, it's got tandem seating arrangement, so you got a front and a back rather than a side by side like these two here airplanes. And when you fly it solo, you fly from the back. And so I like to be able to give passengers, if they are comfortable.
All right, I'll go ahead and start talking. This belongs to a friend of mine, Charlie Fleming. He didn't build the airplane. He bought the airplane. Some of Rick and Bobby Lasher actually own the airplane. They're longtime EAA members here. And Charlie had the opportunity to purchase it from them. Now, we'll talk a little, it's experimental. It's amateur built experimental. So the builders of it with them, and he bought it from them.
Unfortunately, Dave has taken most of the pieces that are finished to his house to store them in the air conditioning next to the valuable stuff in the house. So, but you'll see these are main wings with spars sections. It's a pretty good sized airplane when you get finished with our lieutenant. But the illustration here.
The rest of the people, but I build and fix stuff, and unfortunately I don't mitigate the rust and the corrosion that occurs around here, being in this hazardous saltwater environment. So I feel bad about that. But anyway, this is a Rotaway 162F. It's a about 2002 kit, and Rotaway protection systems and the technology involved in them. And so this is not the latest and greatest. The latest one is the A600, which is very similar, but there's some differences. Some of the differences have been implemented, like that one right there has the A600 gear, which is wider and higher, and it's supposedly a little bit more stable. And the A600 has a drive shaft instead of belt drive for the tail rotor, and it also has a EFIS, but I have an EFIS in this one, you know, electronic flight instrument system. I did a little fast build thing on this because I was one of these guys that taught the kids, you know, way back when you had an opportunity and actually own and operate a helicopter without having a writing off a business or, you know, have a big financial obligation. That's just for example, for price comparison.